SAFC Fan TV, I'm Sean Middleton, and today I'm outside the Steamy Light where I'll be interviewing William Storey, who is the owner of the online energy drink company Rich Energy, where we will be discussing his two alleged bids for the club, and also where he currently stands in regards to his latest 45 million bid on the table for the club. And also, could you please like, share and subscribe to our channel? We very much appreciate it because we're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's absolutely free. It does not cost a penny. So please subscribe to our channel. Very much appreciate it. Thanks for your time. SAFC Fan TV, I'm Sean Middleton, and today I'm outside the Steamy Light and I'm with William Storey, the owner of the online energy drink company Rich Energy. William, thanks. Finally, we've been talking on the phone for quite some time, but thanks for agreeing to do this interview.
My pleasure. Great to meet you finally, and great to be here at the Stadium of Light.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to go back straight to the start. I know you've done this on a couple of interviews as well. What got you first interested in buying Sunderland Football Club?
Well, it's one of the best clubs in the world, really, in my opinion. I mean, it's an incredible fan base, incredible stadium, incredible area, and who wouldn't want to be involved with such a wonderful club?
I mean, you know, this club to be where it is now, it's nothing short of a catastrophe, really. I mean, it's Sunderland being in the third tier of English football. It's not acceptable, is it, William?
No, I mean, simply, but it's a one-word answer, isn't it? I mean, it's outrageous that they're languishing where they are in League One, and a club of this stature and size really deserves to be a top 10 Premier League club. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. I know, William, obviously you've showed us the paperwork and this, that and the other. I can't really see too much. Obviously, it's strictly confidential. But going back to your first bid, I just want to obviously talk about your first bid and then obviously your second bid as well.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, I started to look at the club in February or March. I was lucky enough to get some brilliant people behind me to support the bid. We made our first formal bid on July the 16th. You've obviously seen who my backers are, and you've seen the funding. And ultimately, we've been ready to go since 16th of July. I've said we put in a bid of £45 million, which we can do immediately. And I'm really quite shocked that I'm not already the owner, because Stuart Donald's gone on record saying he'll sell for 37.6 million or 37.5 million. We've offered more. We're ready to go. We want to put money into the club. We've even got players lined up. We've got a world-class team to run the club. You know, for me, it's an incredible opportunity. The people up here are fantastic, and the fans have been very supportive. But I can only buy from a willing seller. You know, Donald said he wants to sell. He's had an offer from me, and it hasn't happened. So he either needs to sell to me or admit that he doesn't want to sell. And the Storey fiasco, frankly, I mean, again, nothing's happened. And as far as I'm concerned, they either need to sell or admit to the fans that they don't want to sell, and the fans can make up their own mind.
What's the stumbling block, William? I mean, I know obviously social media, it's a bit of a nasty place at times. I've seen a lot of bad comments, which, you know, it's unacceptable. What do you think the main stumbling block is in getting the deal done?
Well, it's all with the current board. I mean, you know, we put the money down, we're ready to go, we've done our due diligence, we've got the team in place. We could have done this months ago. So all I can do is show, you know, I'm passionate about buying the club. I've got the money. I want to go. Sell me the club. You know, and if you don't want to sell me the club, admit to the fans that you're not going to sell. Because as far as I'm concerned, you know, the silence, we've got a wall of silence from the club. The board privately is saying to me, you know, give us more time, give us more time. As far as I'm concerned, you know, I can't sit here like a lemon waiting for months and months and months. You know, I'm ready to go. The hardest thing in football is really getting the money. We've got the money. We've got players lined up. We've got some world-class people. You know, with the right management team, Sunderland, the sky's the limit. You know, and as far as I'm concerned, at the moment, languishing in League One, it's pathetic.
There's been some harsh words on social media, William, and I said I've got to ask the questions. People call you a fantasist. There's a lot of people just don't believe a word what you're seeing. What have you got to say to the doubters as well, the Sunderland fans who don't believe anything at all what you're seeing?
Well, listen, I mean, you've seen who my backers are. You've seen the evidence of the fans. As far as I'm concerned, you know, generally in life, I couldn't give a monkeys about any critics. I really couldn't care. However, with Sunderland fans, they're good people. All I can do is prove my bona fides and take over the club. As far as I'm concerned, I can't really show anything until I own the club. But the board know I've got the money, and I've built some fantastic businesses. So, listen, there's always critics in life, but those that can do, those that can't criticise.
There's a lot of people saying as well about NDA. They're saying if you've got a non-disclosure agreement, you can't speak about anything. Can you sort of speak much on that? That's what a lot of people say on social media. What do you see about the people on Twitter who are saying that you've got an NDA, but you're seeing this, that and the other?
Yeah. Well, the original NDA, if you notice, the original NDA we signed back in April. So that was quite some time ago. We did then the official offer in July. So ultimately the original NDA lapsed. As far as I'm concerned, I've respected that from day one. Clearly, in the last 6 weeks, I've been able to say a little bit more. There's some restrictions, but ultimately, we weren't getting anywhere. The fans need to know what the situation is. And as far as I'm concerned, listen, Sunderland fans are intelligent. They can make up their own minds. But, I can't do any more than show the passion to take over the club. The club know that I'm serious. I think what I'm saying is they're misleading the fans by not admitting that they don't want to sell, or that they only want to deal with an existing party, which is Wan Sartori.
Yeah. I was just about to say, obviously, with the NDA, I mean, there's a lot of people talking about that, but also I've got to bring it up. Your company, Rich Energy,
Yep.
There's a lot of people saying that they checked the books and they said that one of them went into liquidation. Can you sort of speak up about that? Because I think we talked about it on the phone. Can you talk about that now?
Absolutely. Rich Energy, I set up in 2015. It's an international brand. We're sold in 38 countries. We have businesses in multiple different jurisdictions, including the US, including Germany, including Holland, including Malta, including Ireland. So ultimately, we're an international business. We're actually manufactured. The cans are made in the UK, but we actually fill them in Austria. So the company that's being referred to is the old UK distribution company, and the figures being referred to are from 2017, which was a full year and a half before we were in Formula One. So, I mean, again, it's just armchair critics who don't know what they're talking about. I'm very open to it. Ultimately, Rich Energy, I'm very proud of. We've created a world-class product, and that's why Red Bull have gone against me 5 times in court.
Yeah, so I had to bring that up, William. Like you say, I've got to bring all the things up what people are talking about on social media. I mean, and you're very passionate. You're very driven. You've shows the paperwork there. How do you think you can get this deal done? I mean, Stuart Donald, is he making it hard? Have you actually spoke to him, or is it Neil Fox who you're sort of speaking to?
I've spoken to the board. Day to day, we've been dealing with Neil Fox. Obviously, Angela Loads is the FD here. But ultimately, we obviously Mr. Methven, who I'm sure you're a huge fan of. But ultimately, listen, we've been in talks with the board. How can I get it done? Well, all I can do is just tell the truth and show fans that I'm really desperately keen to get hold of Sunderland Football Club and drive it upwards. In the right hands, Sunderland, the potential is absolutely unbelievable. And, I'm just very, very keen for the opportunity. It would be an incredible privilege to take the club forward. I can't force them to sell to me. All I can do is show the fans that I'm serious and offer that more money than they actually wanted, so we can actually get the deal done and actually get the investment going into the club.
William, as well, you put a tweet out on the 19th of November, I believe. One of the North East reporters tweeted me this. I'm not going to name him because he gets on his high horse. But anyway, he said that you'd put a tweet out on the 19th stating that it was with the EFL checks. But then you said the day before you lodged the £45 million bid. Can you sort of clarify? Can you clear that up?
Yeah, I certainly can. We've been in unofficial talks with the EFL since July because obviously we submitted our first bid, and clearly we've been in talks with them that there will be no problem with our proposed board. My proposed board, by the way, includes the ex-CEO of a major city bank, and one of the leading restaurateurs in London who's backed by Investec. So we've got blue chip people. We've been assured that we'll whistle through the EFL test, so that's not a problem. In fact, that is actually just usually administrative. So we've been in talks with the EFL since July.
I've got a few questions, obviously, here, William. One of them is from Conrad, who works on the channel. He basically says, like if you're successful and you get the club, what's saying that you couldn't be another Stuart Donald, where he just wanted to buy the club and flip it over and just make a quick profit? What's your long-term plan if you're successful in buying Sunderland Football Club?
Well, ultimately, listen, I'm a huge lover of football, and I like to build things. You know, I'm not a parasite. I'm not somebody who wants to come in and take things apart. I want to grow things. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a huge opportunity. So, you know, you can only be judged on results, but everything I've done, you know, in the last 20 years is build things, and that's what I'm about. You know, I want to add value, and I want to create something very special. And it's very rare that you'll get an opportunity of a club of this stature, with this potential, and the opportunity to take it forward is one that, you know, as a football fan, that would be very hard to turn down. So, you know, I don't want to slag anyone off, but the reality is that I think the facts would suggest that I'm very, very different to the current incumbents.
I know you can't obviously slag, like you're trying to buy the club, you can't slag the current ownership off, but do you think it could be a case of he's hiding something more than, because like he said, Nick Barnes on the radio, he said, if somebody gives me a 37.5 million and they pass the AFL checks, they can have the club. You bid 45 million. Yep. So do you think, on that said, do you think he's hiding something in the books? Have you actually seen the books?
We've done due diligence, and you know, what I would say is it's interesting. You know, as far as I'm concerned, we want to get the club. You know, I don't think it's a revelation to say they haven't done a very good job. You know, there are, you know, different kinds of football club owners. At one level, you'd probably have somebody like Jack Walker, who did an incredible job at Blackburn, a lifelong fan who put huge amounts of money and actually won the Premier League, if you remember, with Shearer and Sutton and Kenny Dalglish and those people. And at the other end of the scale, you've probably got people like Ken Anderson at Bolton, or people like that, or Craig White at Rangers. Yeah. Well, I think fans of Sunderland who are educated in football will know which end that the current lot are. Yeah. But ultimately, as far as I'm concerned, you know, Ellis Short put a lot of money in. But I don't think he understood football, you know, and ultimately I think his heart was in the right place. So you need the resources, but you also need to understand football. As far as I'm concerned, owners of a football club live or die by their results. They haven't put money in, and the club is now in League One. So I think the results speak for themselves. It needs new ownership, and ultimately they need to do what they said they were going to do. You know, the books aren't great, but we're prepared to take a risk. We're prepared to invest long term, and we're here for the long term.
Obviously, my question here was, I was thinking about this today. I know you said you bid like 45 million. Yep. The price is 37.5. But I always say in life, if you really want to get something, you'll go and get it, and you'll pay. I know I'm sitting here, I'm a multi-millionaire, but if I was a multi-millionaire, I had the chance to buy Sunderland, I would give him an offer, but he couldn't refuse.
Yeah, that's what we tried to do. I mean, we've tried to make it as simple as possible. I mean, one of the nonsenses that's coming out about the Storey and Dreyfus alleged bid, which is in fact a loan to issue more shares, by the way. But one of the nonsenses about that is it's going to take months and months and months. That's crap. You know, if a deal's going to happen, it should happen straight away. There's no barrier to our deal happening. We're fine with the EFL. We can do the deal. We've got the money in escrow. We can transfer it. We could actually exchange on this within 3 days of getting the green light. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, good deals happen straight away. We see this as a bigger picture. You know, we're not talking about shortfalls in revenue with a COVID fiasco or anything like that. We are here for the long term. I've managed to get some brilliant people who buy into the vision of Sunderland, and ultimately we've got an incredible opportunity here, and it's a blank canvas. So I agree with you.
And you've obviously got your critics as well, and there's a lot of the journalists are saying that you've showed the paperwork, but that you're not credible. What you've got to say about that, William?
Well, listen, I mean, ultimately there's critics in life. There's people, it's easy to criticise, isn't it? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know, Rich Energy last year was valued at £100 million. I then had Red Bull and some investors try and take it, get me out of the company. They failed. I've built that back up, so we have a renaissance. I've built 3 or 4 different businesses. Ultimately, listen, as far as I'm concerned, I love scrutiny. There's no problem. You know, when you're wrong, you can't be strong. You know, I'm very proud of what I've built from nothing, by the way. Rich Energy is going from strength to strength. And ultimately, I'm very happy to be looked at. You know, I think what I'm saying, what I'm offering, and what I've pulled together for Sunderland merits respect. And I think that we can do brilliant. But, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, critics can criticise. It's not a problem. But what I will say is if I'm lucky enough to get the privilege of actually taking over Sunderland, which I'm doing everything possible to do, I think those critics will turn around very, very quickly, and they'll realise I'm somebody who's very genuine and passionate about building the club.
Yeah, that's strong words. I mean, the proof in the pudding, as they say it, William. I mean, like, where do you think you are currently? I mean, the bids there on the table. Have you spoken to Neil Fox or Donald lately in the last few weeks or years?
Yeah, we were in contact with the board last week. They're saying, please give us more time. More time for what? You know, as far as I'm concerned, they basically have got a binary choice. They either admit they don't want to sell, or they do the deal with me or this putative deal with Storey. Well, that's nowhere near happening. So they have to admit that they're not going to sell, or they sell to me. That's it. Because saying nothing or being disingenuous in the media, quite frankly, is just insulting the fans.
I mean, if Donald's just trying to buy more time just to keep the club, he's obviously not thinking of the club's best interest. I don't know if you've seen the other day, the EFL's got a bailout package where 15 million will be divided between all the teams in League One. But Stuart Donald's come out, well, he hasn't come out, but he's basically said he wants more money. In doing so, he will put the club in serious jeopardy because there will be an embargo put on them, on our club, if he gets more money off the EFL. That's, to me, is a sign of somebody who's not in it. We know that he's not in it at all. He's not an honest man. He's lied. He's constantly lied. But if he does that, is that going to jeopardise the deal as well with you?
Well, no, because we're passionate about taking over Sunderland, and whatever, encumbrances are put in the way, we're going to get around them. But obviously it's far from ideal. And the reality is, why on earth would Sunderland be going cap in hand to the EFL for a bailout if they were well run? The reality is they got a golden inheritance from Ellis Short. Yeah. He wrote off tens of millions of pounds of debt. He's invested a huge amount. They had a golden inheritance, an incredible infrastructure. Look at the stadium behind you. Look at the academy. It was virtually debt-free. They put nothing in. They're now in League One with bigger debts. How on earth has that happened? Ultimately, there's been no investment in this club. And however good a club is, it needs owners who are supportive, not parasites taking money out of the club.
If you're successful, William, can you remember in 2006 when Niall Quinn, he took over with a Duranville consortium? Yeah. Is that what you would be? Would you be like the chairman and your battlers would just would pump the money in? Is that which way it would work?
By and large, yes. I mean, I was introduced to Sunderland by a lifelong Sunderland fan. Obviously, I've admired the club for a long time, but the actual opportunity, I was introduced to Ellis Short. We then spoke with Donald. Ultimately, I brought then a group of people together, raised the money. And it's very exciting because actually we've got the support not only to buy the club, but then invest tens of millions of pounds above and beyond in players. Yeah. So I would be effectively the chairman because I brought the consortium together. But as far as I'm concerned, the bigger picture, it's not about me. I don't really care for titles. It's about building the club. What an opportunity. And I think within weeks, let alone months, of a new broom, you could totally transform the atmosphere of the club, bring the fans with you, explain what you're going to do, be very open. Now, obviously, there's financial fair play restrictions. Yeah. So obviously, when you're investing for different things. So, maybe loan players are a good solution initially. Yeah. But what we need is to set out a vision for the club and take it back to the top. And you know what? In the right hands, that's exactly what's going to happen. Yeah,
I was just about to see you, William, there. You've just not only on the head and said, like, your long-term vision. You seem like passionate and you want to get us back to the Premier League, and I think that's what all of us Sunderland fans crave. We shouldn't be in this division. We need to get back to the Premier League, William. We need to get to League One first. That's the main thing. Do you know what I mean?
All I can promise fans is honesty, openness, a lot of hard work, and I'm lucky enough to have fantastic people behind me. I can't buy a club from people who don't want to sell. So all I can do is say, here I am, sell me the club, and these are the brilliant people behind me, we can take it forward. That's all I want to do. If they don't want to sell to me, I can't force them to sell to me. But ultimately, they're going nowhere, they're investing no money, and they've promised the fans they'll sell. So what's going on?
Yeah. I was just about to say, Donald, he's just went out and hiding in Oxford, and he's just letting Jim Rodwell, these puppets, just basically, run the show. But he needs to be, there needs to be some clarification. This potential takeover was a dilute in the shares, as you've said. I mean, then Donald and Metham would be running the club. Donald would still be there, and Sartovio's done nothing. And Kirill Louis de Freer, he's coming in. Who's going to call the shots? For me, as a Sunderland fan, I want to see a new beginning, a new start. I don't want to see any of them stay at all.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, Stuart Donald's inherited an insurance company. I don't know what he's ever built. I don't know what the knowledge, Charlie Methven, what his knowledge of football is. Ultimately, I played football to a reasonably high level. You know, I've loved football all my life, and I've built something from nothing. You know, I've never been given anything. I've created businesses. I think with the group of people I've got behind me, and that's very crucial, we can do wonderful things here. But as I said, all I can do is just be very honest and open with the fans. You know, listen, I'm not interested in critics, and I really couldn't care. All I can do is just demonstrate with facts what we can do. But certainly, you know, the club needs a new direction. It needs new investment, and that's all we can do.
Just quickly, William, because it's been a long interview. How confident are you? I mean, how confident are you now? I mean, it seems to be dragging on and dragging on. Your bid's there on the table. Are you still confident? Will you fight to the end and you'll never give up?
Well, I'm not somebody who usually gives up, and that's, you know, you won't get anywhere if you give up. But ultimately, my backers are asking me, why isn't the deal done? And it's a great question. And all I can do is bang on the door and bang and bang and bang and just be completely open with everybody. Am I confident? Yes, I am, because we've got the biggest bid on the table, we've got the most money, and we've got the best plan. The alternative, in inverted commas, nothing's happening. Why is it? You know, why is there no clarity from the club? But I can only buy the club if they actually genuinely want to sell, and that's the big question. But ultimately, I think my view is that they think that they can probably hobble along to the end of the season, and if they get into the Championship, they think the club's worth 75 or 80 million quid, and they think they've got money. But ultimately, they need to level with the fans, either admit they don't want to sell or sell to me.
I mean, you said your backers there. Your backers could sort of run out of patience, William, in the end. I mean, hopefully they don't. But see if Donald keeps the club until the end of the season. Would you still be willing then? I mean, I know it's going to be harder to. I mean, in the best case scenario, with the January transfer window coming up, I mean, the squad, that squad needs investing. Absolutely. So, do you think if you could get a deal done, it'd be preferable to do it now rather than later?
Well, listen, obviously, I mean, we want to do it. We wanted to do it yesterday. I mean, but ultimately, I'm very lucky. I've got some very supportive backers who share my vision for Sunderland, who see the potential and know what we can do. We can do great things here. So I'm very lucky that they are being very patient and they know that I'm doing everything I can to get the deal done. Of course, the sooner the better. But ultimately, listen, Sunderland Football Club is an unbelievable football club, and I would love to be the owner, and I think we could do amazing things here. But I can't force them to sell. But I do believe that I still feel confident we'll do it, but as I said, I can only try my best.